Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to more Center for Cinephiles. I took a break for a bit to work on other projects, which I'm actively still working on right now, but I watched a movie this morning that compelled me to stop everything and make this video. So, what are we talking about? The 1975 original, The Stepford Wives. If you don't know about The Stepford Wives, you likely have heard some reference to it in life. If you're alive at all, you've heard the term, oh, she's a Stepford wife, or this person's a Stepford something something. What does that mean? Well, it means when someone or a group of people, in this context, this case, women, are very beautiful, very together, super proper, and seemingly don't have any other interests outside of family and housekeeping and pleasing their partner, that is a Stepford wife. That's what we're dealing with. And the reason it's called that, if you know about the story, is because Stepford, Connecticut is a place where all the women there are, like I previously described. They're lovely, they are super polite, they don't have many interests outside of housekeeping or gardening, and pleasing their partners, being good moms, and things like that. And they don't really have any outside of opinions. Well, outside of opinions meaning opinions that contradict any opinion or viewpoint by the male in the house or the males in that town. It's very it's interesting, the concept, and I intend to, having seen the film now, I want to read the book by Ira Levin to understand how far he was able to push the concept in the book. So I'm excited to pick that up and see what's going on with that. But this movie, it messed me up. Likely there's conversations about this movie in comparison to Get Out, which if you've seen Get Out and you've heard Jordan Peele talk about it, or you've listened to the commentary, this is one of the key movies that was an influence, an inspiration for Get Out. And it's not hard to see why when you see Stepford Wives. But I'm going to talk about the Stepford Wives now on its own terms, separate from Get Out, and perhaps I'll do another later video talking about the two films or something related to that. I may mention Get Out once or twice, but really this video is about the Stepford Wives. It's a film on its own terms. Now, what do we have? We have a family who is leaving New York City for Stepford, Connecticut, to have a more idyllic lifestyle, safer life, more wholesome situation for their children, and just a quieter situation. And sounds great on the surface, but obviously that's not the case. There's something strange going on in Stepford, Connecticut. Almost immediately, our main character, Joanna Ephart, played by Catherine Ross, amazingly by the way, notices something is off about the town. In fact, before she notices, we notice. There's an interaction early in the film, right when the family arrives in Stepford and they're getting accustomed to their new surroundings. One of the neighbors comes over to drop off a casserole. Now, that doesn't happen too much anymore these days, but there was a time when that did happen. And in this particular time period, place in Stepford, it happens. And you can tell immediately from the first woman you see in Stepford, something's off. By how she's moving, how she's speaking, her general bearing. Interesting. Okay? again, we're watching this movie, whatever, 40 years on, plus years removed from the time in which it was released. So naturally, something is off about the whole situation, not just this woman. Joanna is sharp throughout the film. She's very, very in tune to what's jumping off. Different interactions with different women and different people in the town. She meets a friend, Bobby, who is a kindred spirit. Bobby is a former city girl and also she's transplanted into Stepford, and they bond. They share over shared experiences and how Stepford is driving them crazy. They have to get out of there. So one thing leads to another. Things start becoming more suspicious. Joanna and Bobby begin to investigate these suspicious feelings, and before long, it's pretty clear that the suspicions that Joanna has about what's going on in the new town she's living in, not only is she right, but things don't work out in the way that she might hope. So I'll leave that there. And if you're curious about what that means, you should watch the film. That said, I'm moving on to other elements of the film to talk about. So the story, for the time in which it came out, you're in the thick of women's liberation, mid 1970s. You've got this is what the second wave feminist movement happening somewhere within that in that period. So it's a timely film at that time. Wonder Woman, the TV show, is hot during that year, and female empowerment is what's jumping off. So I think it's more important to look at the message of the film, or the commentary, the ideas that it's trying to communicate. It's a commentary on the silencing of women, and on sort of male fantasy, male wish fulfillment, and having a partner who is basically there for, she exists for your enjoyment and for the kids' enjoyment. And there's something about that says a lot about, particularly during that time period, about the transitional period, that the space that women were going through, and not just being stay-at-home moms, but having other aspirations and doing other things outside of that. If they wanted more than just a family, or if they didn't want a family, whatever, embracing those choices, and how socially the film actually seems to praise this idea of individuality. And Joanna she's again, so she's sharp, she's gorgeous. She is not one. Yes, she's a mom and a wife, and she enjoys those roles. But she has other aspirations. She's a photographer, and a good one, and she wants to explore things about herself that she enjoys, and how in the film frames that as she's the odd person out next to Bobby, her friend, who also has similar they have similar feelings about stuff, and as different women they meet who were not, women start changing, it becomes clear that the town is not so much for women who have other ideas outside of how Stepford operates. And it's unfortunate, because women who might have had other ideas, who might want to explore different things, whatever it is, something happens to them, and then they don't get to do that. They change. And it's interesting how the film talks about that. That's a real thing, though. And it's interesting how the film it's a real thing still right now. Like it's granted, it's that's shifting. Women now have ample spaces for their voices to be heard, and in many ways, it's not the case for every woman, still right now. But today, obviously, things are not like they were in the 1970s, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And in that way, the Stepford Wives film is timely. I think definitely, you know, in the wake of Me Too, Time's Up, where women are coming out after having been sexually assaulted, harassed, you know, whatever any other type of transgression, the space is here now for people to hear, listen to what's happening. And if this were Stepford, that would be quite something. And the thing is that Joanna is trying to speak out and make decisions about what to do in her predicament, getting to the point to where she's actually trying to leave Stepford, and that is speaking out. Obviously, historically, has been not the best thing for women in various positions, be it entertainment industry, be it the office workplaces, wherever they are. Speaking out against transgressions and things has historically led to some sort of punishment. And in a lot of ways, the Stepford Wives film is a commentary on that. And I highly recommend people watching it right now. Watching it during this time, just for kicks. So you have all that. The other thing is just it's actually a really well shot film. There's a lot of really cool handheld camera situations. It's very well written. It's well adapted. I mean, you can sense from what you see on screen that there were obviously pieces left out, but it feels like, from what I've seen, from what I watched, that the important pieces were kept in, and the spirit of the film was able to remain. The spirit of the story was able to remain intact, and that's really cool. There were some cool tracking shot pieces in there, and just the area. Stepford was well photographed. You really got a sense of how beautiful the place was, and even the homes. Even back then, that would be a cool home to live in right now. All the homes, any home you saw the inside of, just very nice place. But you also got a sense of the isolation of that place, and how real it felt for Joanna, being seemingly the only person to catch on to what the heck was happening. Her and Bobby, both of them knew, they had a feeling about things. Something was jumping off. So I finished the film this morning, and I was so affected that I just said, you know what, skip it. I have to talk about this movie. And it's one at a time. When you're having we have a female protagonist who is throughout, with it. After she's being told she's crazy, she's being told she doesn't know what she's talking about. She had one friend. Bobby was the only person who was with her, who believed her, and that's the thing. So that's how she's finding that one person really did wonders for her in such a space of isolation. And then you look at all these women. These women are home all day, while the husbands go and work, and then they have this men's group that they're a part of. And once you understand the sinister element of what that means, you have a better sense of, wow, that's actually really a jacked up situation that she was in. And hopefully the film gets you to think. So I think that's all I can say about it right now. I don't know how clear that is. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I really enjoyed the film, and I think I recommend you watching it, soon. Because and it's one other thing. It's bold in the choices it makes storytelling choices. Again, this is the mid-1970s now, so remember, films are taking, at that point, they're taking some risks. You have films like Westworld, which was released a couple years before that. You got, and this is you got films. You know, some of the anti-hero films are coming out. You got Death Wish came out the year before. You got some hard-edged stuff coming out, and here's the Stepford Wives telling a pretty potent, even for the time, story about women's role in society, and it's going some pretty bold places. So I'll leave that. I mean, I know this movie is 40 plus years old, and it's probably not a spoiler what's going on, but you're not gonna get spoilers from me. So I think you should watch it, because it was and watching it, this is post Get Out now. This is 2019. Watching it in that context too, you get to understand a little bit about how Jordan Peele was thinking. What he did was not altogether unique, because you have Stepford Wives as a model. However, in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement and all these like stuff that's happening still today to Black people, that, like Stepford Wives, in the middle of the women's liberation space, Get Out operates similarly, and how it still remains a nerve toucher, if that makes any sense. It touches your nerve. So just understand that. Watch Stepford Wives, check that mess out, because it's serious business. On that note, I will end this review, this discussion, what have you, on Stepford Wives. I would give it about an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. So check it out if you're curious. Other than that, I think that's it for now. In the meantime, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video. And I'll see you guys back here later. All right. I'm out of here.